Okay, well, welcome Rene Holaday to our series on our candidates from the Congressional District 5 candidates. We're interviewing the candidates to help our constituents get to know them and find out more about them. So thank you for being here today, Rene.
Well, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
You bet. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and I've kind of got my timer here over here, but we'll just go through these questions and give you a chance to talk. There are 5 Republican candidates in this race still. So this is a very important that people get a chance to get to know you better. And there's 11 candidates total. So it's definitely a crowded race. So Rene, take a couple minutes and tell us about yourself and why you are running.
Okay, well, I'm a Christian MAGA Republican. I'm a UN expert that wrote the first book in the USA on the UN's Agenda 21. I spent 6 years in college where I studied engineering, wildlife biology, and macro sociology with special focus on the study of government and foreign governance structures, as well as the Holocaust and the false science of eugenics. And I grew up farming wheat and barley and hay and livestock in Montana with my family, 3 generations. And let's see, I've owned my own 40-acre horse farm in Chewelah since 2003. I've had 18 solid years of fighting and winning against Agenda 21 programs at the local, state, and national level. I started and was president of the Stevens County Property and Water Rights Group for 5 years. I saved land and livestock owners multiple times from Agenda 21 programs and saved Stevens County and Spokane County from the voluntary stewardship program, which took me a year and a half of fighting, but I won. And we're the only 2 counties in the whole state because of my effort that we're able to get out from under that. So that was a massive achievement. I've written a lot of legislative bills and resolutions as property rights president and also as a legislative assistant when I worked in Olympia. And it's as a state, I was a state delegate in 2008 and helped write the Republican Party platform policy on the United Nations. I've written 2 books on how to stop Agenda 21 in the USA. And I've also written 2 congressional bills that would secure the border, ban electronic voting machines and mail-in ballots, stop child trafficking, and prohibit illegal aliens from voting. And I'm just getting started. And so I am running to help save America from the communists that are taking over through all of the UN programs, as well as being influenced by the communists from the Chinese sector. I want to help fix the economy by helping Trump drill oil. In my first book, The Perils of Sustainable Development, I documented how the US has 750 years worth of untapped oil in our 3 reserves. I would help him by writing and supporting bills making that possible as soon as possible. Not only that, but I would write bills directing infrastructure funding to build multiple oil refineries in the US so that we were not just energy independent, but energy dominant. At that point, who cares if BRICS has dumped our petrodollar, right? I would support and write legislation prohibiting communist countries from owning businesses and land in America. I would support and write bills that export illegal aliens as soon as possible as well.
Okay. Nice. Very nice. We got a lot of plans, which is great. So next question, why do you believe that people should vote for you this August over your fellow opponents?
Well, I believe people should vote for me because we're in unprecedented times and our republic is facing multiple existential threats. We cannot afford status quo career politicians in Congress right now. Unlike my opponents, I'm neither status quo nor a politician. I know most of my opponents well, and I have listened to them speak on the issues, and it's clear that they do not understand the current enemies we are faced with, nor their strategies. I do know the enemies we're facing. I know them very well. I'm an expert on the UN, whose charter and governance through their Agenda 21 programs is based on the Communist Manifesto with a fascism economic model called public-private partnerships. None of my opponents know anything about that, nor do they speak on it, nor do they feel that it's a problem when it's the base problem that we're facing right now. Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War and who is taught in all our military colleges, says the first rule of war is to know your enemy. I studied both Sun Tzu tactics and government and foreign governance structures in college. I've used my education as well as my research on the Constitution to fight these UN communists and their Agenda 21 programs at the local, state, and national level. And I win. I use my expertise to fight them and I win. I win and they know it. And this is why I continue to be blocked in communist-owned newspapers and from attending communist-run schools.
Well, this day, that is something to put behind your name, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Nice, nice. All right. Next question. Let me hold on here. So I give you the full shake here on the time. Given the pervasive influence of money and lobbyists in Washington, D.C., along with the strong presence of special interest groups, how do you intend to effectively navigate and combat these pressures to genuinely represent and stand up for the interests of the citizens, our citizens here in the 5th Congressional District?
Well, I always have to refer to a biblical verse that's one of my favorites, that the Lord says, you shall know them by their fruits, right? Well, morality is a huge issue with me. I am a staunch Christian patriot, and my fruits are expressed across my past 18 years. I don't do anything because somebody paid me to do it. I didn't do it because I was told to do it or because I was hired to do it, or because some corporation was willing to back me. What I've done across the past 18 years to defend people and their property rights and livestock rights is all of my own volition. In fact, I've paid to do it. This is who I am. And so when Jesus says, you shall know them by their fruits, that's how you know me. Look at my past 18 years and everything I've done pretty much full time in service of helping people get out from underneath these UN Agenda 21 programs and save their property and their water and their rights. And so that's where I'm passionate, and I plan to continue on in the same direction. I don't need somebody to tell me, this is what you need to do. And so I am not at all interested in taking money, and especially not from large corporations and lobbyists. In fact, I find that very shady, and I feel that if you can't get by without their money, you're doing something wrong. And so to me, this is not about money at all. And I've never been driven by money. Like I said, I've paid in order to do everything I've done for the past 18 years.
Oh, nice. Okay. The next question is, given the challenges and controversies surrounding COVID-19 mandates, what specific steps would you advocate for at the federal level to balance public health interests with individual liberties? And how would you work to prevent the overreaching use of mandates for measures such as masking and vaccination in future public health crises?
Well, first of all, I'm a huge Constitution buff, and I base everything I do on the law. And being under oath, having an oath of office to uphold the law of the Constitution, I'm going to go by what is constitutional and what is legal first. I have never felt that any of the COVID requirements or mandates have been constitutional at all. In fact, I've on our Christian radio program, I've strongly advocated for people to fight back against these things because these mandates are unconstitutional. And so I've never supported mask mandates. I've never supported any of that. And beyond that, as far as keeping the public safe in an actual threat, I would rely strictly upon the experts. I want to hear expert testimony, and not just the people that are paid by the government. I want to hear the actual doctors that have opposite views, and I want to be able to weigh all the evidence myself and compare it with the law. And if it's not legal, it's not going anywhere, especially not getting past me. So that's how I feel about that.
Nice. Good. All right. How do you plan to address the most pressing issues facing our constituents, such as illegal immigration, cost of living and inflation, and crime and national debt?
Well, I pointed to that in my introduction statement, but like I said, I've already written a bill to secure the border. In fact, I wrote it last year in August before I had even considered the idea of running for Congress. And so I had already written a bill that that secures the border, that bans electronic voting machines and mail-in ballots, and also stops child trafficking. And all three are interwoven strategically in that bill to bring in the Democrats as well, so that it's not just a single-sided issue, but we get it all wrapped up in one bill. And that was actually proven to be effective by what Argentina did, where they got rid of their electronic voting machines in their primary, which allowed the people's vote to actually get who they wanted, which was Javier Milei, who has since ousted communism and socialism, and now they're in massive recovery. And not only that, but here's how it works with the child trafficking. Within his first 2 weeks, he called in the producer of Sound of Freedom and had him come to his office so they could write legislation to stop child trafficking. So that's how it works. When the people actually get who they voted for, these people are the moral people. These are the people that are not communists. Communists never get elected. If anybody knows they're communists, they never get elected. So they have to use election fraud. So when they got rid of the election fraud system in Argentina, the people got who they want, and now they're ousting child trafficking. So, the same is true and would be effective in my bill. So that was kind of a nice little thumbs up for that bill that I had written and hadn't even been able to test yet, but Argentina basically proved what I wrote. And then my second bill that I already wrote is addressing the illegal aliens and basically stopping them from being able to vote. I not only want them to not be able to vote, I want to help Trump by writing whatever bills I need to write for him in order to assist getting rid of all of the illegal aliens, because other countries have successfully exported all of their illegal immigrants, and we can do the same.
Awesome. Any comments about cost of living and inflation or crime and national debt?
Absolutely. That was what I was describing. And, basically what I've addressed so far is the arterial bleeds, the critical issues that are the biggest existential threats to our nation right now. And, not only is it their election fraud that keeps us from having a nation, and a wide open border that keeps us from having a nation. By the other arterial bleed is the economy and the fact that we are not accessing our own oil. We've got 750 years worth of untapped oil in our three reserves right now. And boy, just like Trump said, drill, baby, drill. There is no way to recover our economy faster than bringing in our own gas, and not just drilling our oil, but also funding the infrastructure to build multiple different oil refineries in the US so that we can do it all within our own borders and be not just energy independent, but energy dominant. And that's exactly what will restore this economy the fastest way possible, because basically everything we buy is based on the price of gas and diesel. And so when you bring the cost of living back down through the less money that you're spending at the grocery store, because now groceries can be shipped and hauled much less expensively, so all the prices drop. We're spending much less at the pump, and so that all adds up to equal more money in every single person's pocket, and that is absolutely the base of our economy and the fastest way to recover it.
Excellent. So how do you plan to engage with and be accountable to your constituents here in the Congressional District 5?
Oh my gosh, this is a huge thing for me, because working as a legislative assistant in Olympia, all my other counterparts, all the other legislative aides, they were told by their reps to just delete everybody's emails, that, just delete them all. And so they had time to sit around and run around between offices and talk. I did nothing but sit there 14, 17 hours a day answering every single email. I found it just absolutely appalling that when people are in office to represent people, that they don't want to hear what they have to say. I was appalled. And so, yes, it took me an awful long time to go through all those emails and make sure everybody was responded to. but that's the backbone of what it means to be a servant to the people. I want to know what they're saying. And in fact, there's no stronger position that an elected official can have than to have close contact with their people, because I want to be able to put out an alert to everybody saying, look, I need a general consensus from all of you right now, so I get percentages on yes or no, or what do you all think about this, what would you like me to do on this particular issue, and give them immediate access to vote right on everything that's coming up. Because especially as we're in like bullet fire issues coming just faster than people can hardly deal with them. I want direct access to as many of my constituents as possible in an effective setup where I get their input and feedback on, daily. Why not daily? There is no way to be a stronger candidate and a stronger elected official than that.
That's awesome. Awesome. So I thought of another question. So if you'll play along with me, I think you'll enjoy this one. This is not one I told you about before. So
Okay.
You don't have to answer, but who is your favorite congressperson right now?
Well, let's see. Marjorie Taylor Greene has to be my favorite. I've sent her multiple copies of my bills and to each place where she has an office. And I love what she does because she does what her constituents tell her to do. And she brings the fight. She doesn't hold back. And she's not there as, like I was talking about earlier, with a status quo, the go along to get along person and just soak up some cushy job. That's not what she's there for. She's there to uphold the Constitution and represent her constituents in the best way possible. And I just love her fight. That's exactly the same kind of person I'm going to be. I would look forward to assisting her and jumping right in there with her.
Awesome. Awesome. I was kind of curious about what you did with those bills that you wrote. So I'm kind of glad you circled back around. So she got a copy of them, huh?
Well, yes. In fact, I had sent that first bill that I wrote last year before I was even running. We sent that out to our entire nationwide listening audience, to our radio show. And I pushed that bill. It's called the Stop Child Trafficking bill, that has been dubbed the checkmate bill because it forces the Democrats to vote for it too. But I sent that out to our listening audience, and over 900 people printed that out and sent copies of that bill to their own congressman. And I sent them to everybody that I felt was doing a good job, including President Trump. And do you know, out of all those 900 plus bills, none of the congressmen wrote back, but Trump did. Trump wrote back and he said, "Thank you for doing that. Americans are going to have to stand up and get tough." And I went, "Boy, you're not kidding." So, that's the kind of thing I've been doing. That's how you know me, by my fruits. Look at what I've been doing.
Awesome. So final comments. You have a couple minutes.
You bet.
The audience a couple of final thoughts.
Oh, all right. For me, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to ask me another question. Okay. No, my final thoughts are that, you shall know them by their fruits. Just please consider that none of my opponents have ever been in Congress. None of them have experience doing any of that. But none of my opponents have ever done any of this on their own and fought these communists and won. They wouldn't even know how to begin or what would work against them. I've got 18 years of doing this on my own and winning and saving so many people's property rights and water rights, because I dig in, I don't quit. I do everything according to the law and according to the truth. And that's the winning ticket. I've written 2 books about it. My second book is how to effectively get rid of this communist influence in our government. That was what my second book is about. And that largely uses Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, which nobody seems to recognize as our single greatest weapon against this whole communist takeover. And so I just hope that people will understand that I'm not just a career politician looking for a higher paying job. I don't even need a job. This is who I am. This is what I do. I feel like I am built for this time because I am an expert in handling everything that is happening in Congress right now. I understand where these threats are coming from, how to head them off, and how to win. I bring the fight and the offense, and I win. And so when we're talking about, all of the Freedom Caucus in Congress saying, look, we need fighters, people, send your fighters. Don't send us any more of these go along to get along people. We're in an emergency crisis right now. That's me. There's nobody else out there that is going to bring the fight, that has the backbone and the spine and the track record of going up against them and winning. So that would be my final statement. And I hope that people understand that. Just give me the chance to fight for you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Renee, for your time today. Renee Holaday, running for Congressional District 5 here in the Spokane area and the other 11 counties in the Congressional District. So thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me, and nice to talk to you.
You too.
All righty.